Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Glad that you could be here with us today. Alongside, I have Jan with me. Hello, Jan.
Hey, Steve. Hey, everybody.
So, from what I understand, you've got something you would like to say or share.
Yes, I do. First of all, Steve, thank you as always for having me on. Thanks, everybody, for being here. It's always a pleasure. There are a lot of words that we use in our frugal community: frugal, cheap, sometimes even thrifty, sometimes even stingy. But I want to talk to you about a dilemma that I went through a few years ago. When I was working at the school, the faculty decided it was like right before summer vacation. Oh, let's go across the street. There used to be a fancy restaurant across the street from the school. Let's go there and have a faculty celebration and go out to eat. Now, this was unplanned, one of those impromptu things, and everybody was like looking at each other. Half of us probably wanted to go home for the summer, just get away from school. But we couldn't do just that. We had to be polite. So, okay about getting together for the restaurant. But there's a thing that happens sometimes with after work gatherings. Let me know in the comment section below if you would consider this cheap or stingy on my end. We had one of those things where, oh, everybody pitches in their fair share. But where's their fair share? There was one or two people that ordered the most expensive stuff on the menu. Then there were the moderate people. Then there were the super polite people. Take three guesses who was one of them, the super polite people. And the big bill comes in. Do you think I'm being cheap or stingy, or just it's just not fair to want to have to pay the highest end price for that restaurant? Somebody's ordering glasses and glasses of wine with a big full menu, and others are just having a little bitty thing. Keep in mind, this was a spontaneous thing. Really should have been planned better. So personally, I didn't care for it. I didn't care for that at all. And I made it a point the next time they want to pull one of those last minute things, I'm just not going to participate and say adios, have a great day, and I'll see you the next time. So let's talk about cheap versus saving money or just being stingy. So I took a minute, Steve, and everybody listening, to look up kind of like the definition. Okay, so when you're stingy, guess what? A stingy person has an unwillingness to spend, okay? And they usually have selfish behavior. And they also give off a negative perception, okay? And it also, being around people like that could be straining on a relationship or other damage to the relationship. Let's take a good look at a character that we all know at Christmas time by the name of Ebenezer Scrooge. Does anybody recall how stingy Mr. Scrooge was? He certainly was in a financial position to be a little better to his worker and workers and the people around him. Mr. Scrooge was absolutely stingy. Now, people oftentimes mix up frugality and cheapness. A frugal person is actually being smart with their money, like we are. Most of the people listening to our channels and stuff of that nature. Stinginess is about being cheap and reluctant to spend. Also, let's keep this in mind. Stingy is being mean with money, like outrightly mean. Cheap is being tight with money. But frugal is being a wise spender with money. And frugal people have generous hearts. We just analyze things better for what it's worth. Stephen, you're honest. How would you feel if you were caught up in one of those impromptu, let's get together, somebody else orders everything plus the kitchen sink, and somebody else orders the bare minimum to be polite, but yet they're stuck paying the big majority of the selfish person's meal? How do you feel about that?
Well, if I'm the one that would wind up being stuck with the bill, I can tell you right now that it would not, they wouldn't have a snowball chance with me in that happening because I won't let it happen. Um, I would, go and find some way to put a stop to it. I don't know how I would do it. I mean, people like to see, that's just it. When somebody else is going out on somebody else's dime, they think that they can live, you know, big and spend a lot of money, but you really shouldn't. You should be considerate of
Thank
your
you.
friend.
Amen.
You should be considerate of your friend and, keep it within a certain amount of money and let it go at that. No, don't go out and buy $5 glasses of wine and you wind up drinking five or six. That right there is 25, $30 worth of wine.
Right.
Um,
Everybody's
I
budget
won't,
is different. And you hit on a great word. Consider it. That was great, Steve. 100%.
I never do that. If I go out, if somebody's treating me somewhere to eat, they're and they're covering the bill, I'm going to be, considerate of the amount. I'm not gonna go sky high. I'm gonna pick something, in the moderate, not too, right in the middle range that of something that I would like. I'm not gonna go way, way, way up here. But if I can find something a little bit less expensive, I will to get something that I like. No, because it's not fair of the other person. I'm trying to be respectful, is what I'm trying to do.
Yes. And my fault, I'm going to take a little fault in this, Steve. I did the wrong thing at that time. This was years ago. But you learn, lessons learned. I presume it was every teacher for themselves. Like, I mean, let's pretend I went into that same restaurant alone and I ordered something for me. I don't expect the strangers around me to pay for my meal, right? I'm paying my own meal. So I'm thinking the whole time, oh, okay, I'll just, put in my fair share, whatever that is, my thing. Then they said, "Oh no, this is going to be a group thing." Then I'm thinking, well, it can't be too bad because I presume, here I go again with that word, presume that people were going to be fair to each other. But everybody walked in with a different appetite. So it should have occurred to me like a light bulb. This is going on, like crazy, crazy grounds. It's like people getting embarrassed to have to cough up money. It may not be in that person's budget. I stay away from those kind of things as far as possible. No, you raised some really, really good point there about the consideration factor.
Yeah, here is a good example. I got together with, my good friend, and he knew of a friend that I hadn't met yet. He knew this guy. And we had met over at a Denny's, and the guy says, "I'll go ahead, it's my treat. Come and you pick out what you like off the menu." Well, JC, that's my friend's name. He hope he doesn't get mad at me for saying it. He had ordered a hamburger, and it was right around 11, 12, $13. I can't remember. And this other guy, he ordered a Philly cheesesteak omelet. Don't get me wrong, the omelet looked absolutely to die for, delicious. And it was, over the $10 mark. What do I wind up ordering? A Grand Slam, 6.99. That was that tells you how I am when I go to order.
Yeah, yeah,
I wound up ordering the cheapest thing, but I was perfectly happy with what I got.
right.
Well,
It's
no.
crazy.
Well, that was always one of my go-tos whenever I would go and eat breakfast at Denny's. I would always order either the Value Slam or the Grand Slam. That was always one of those two was my go-to. And you know, and to also be conservative, if I remember right, I ordered water. That cuts off another 250, 275, $3, whatever they charge for a drink now in a restaurant. So that gives a person the type of character I have whenever I
Yes.
go to eat somewhere. But I mean, I have been known to go a little bit higher in price. It depends on the meal. If it's lunch, I'm going to go a little bit higher up. I can go to a place like Ruby Tuesday, and order a salad bar, and I am a-okay with that. There's a lot that they offer on the salad bar, 8.99, 9.99, 10.99, which is conservative. I'll
Yes,
go there and I'll get that. They're welcome to get whatever they want, but I but
absolutely.
I but I'll always pick something middle of the road, lower middle, something that I like, that I'll be
You
pleased
know,
with.
it's just that, like, like when a person is on like a teetering on a tight budget, or they want to make sure they have a little more than just making ends meet, and then that comes up. Never in my wildest dream did I expect what happened that day. In fact, there were a couple of other young teachers there that were looking at me like they had similar issues. Like, can you believe so and so ordering such and such? We were all looking at each other. And speaking of being a teacher, that's one of the greatest lessons I learned about, like, really stop, don't presume that everybody thinks the way that we think. Everybody thinks differently. Everybody's pocketbook is different. And I don't mean to come across like, oh, being stingy. That is not stingy. That person was just reckless. There were a couple actually too. They were very
Yeah.
reckless in what they have this plan up their sleeve. Oh, no, we're all going to chip in. All of us don't drink, namely this one, meaning me. I don't touch anything with alcohol in it. I just don't. It has no interest to me. I'm not interested in it. It never was. That's me. And then the fancy dessert. Oh, let's not forget the fancy dessert that day. So it was like Harry. And I just like walked away saying, wow, that's like really like horrible. But I learned a big lesson from it. I don't consider myself cheap in an instant. I consider myself just being careful and considerate. Steve, I'm glad that you came up with the word consider, because I was looking for the right word for it, and you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, uh that was about the only word I could think of that would, describe that, you know, of what was going on. Yeah, considerate, being kind is another one. Um, but no, I won't. But like I said, I hate to make this storyline every time you come back to me and everything be me, 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 me. No, that's not it. But I do know how I am, regardless of who might want to take me out to eat somewhere. I'm perfectly happy with something simple. Now, a lot of people do like them, and there are some that don't like them. I'm actually okay. I do prefer buffets. If I can find a
Yeah.
good buffet, that's really that's really your best bang for your buck, because think about something, you're able to go up and get multiple plates. So if you go there and you start out with a salad, that's one, and then I'll go back up and um, I'll get another plate with just vegetables on it. That's my second. My third plate, I may get some type of chicken, or if steak is available, or some type of meat, and then I'll add a little bit of like sauteed mushrooms and mashed potatoes. I'll go a little bit more carb, maybe another vegetable. I try to When I go to a buffet, I try to eat about 3 plates, and that's not counting if I decide to have fruit or dessert.
Well, that's the
So,
idea. I mean, you have a bunch of options when you do buffet, and it is more individualistic.
right, you do have a lot more choices, there's more to pick from, and I wish where I live down here, I wish there were buffets a little bit more available than what there is. Um, I mean, you've got your Golden Corral. Now, I do have a place I like to go, that does Chinese food, but they also do hibachi at the same time.
Hmm.
where you can go up and pick your meat, your vegetables, and give it to the person, and they cook it in front of you,
Nice.
which is what I really love more than anything. Because to me, the fresher the food, the happier I am. I
There
mean,
you go.
I'm surprised fresh is not my middle name. I'm exaggerating when I say that, um, but I do wish we had 2 or 3 more buffets available in town than what we do. But that's just, that's just one other avenue. But I'm not picky though when it comes to going to eat out. I'm not, I've got a few choice restaurants that I like, but I'm not really all that out there. I'm actually kind of on the s- uh, practical side if you think about it.
The thing that was missing in my case with that situation, and really we because it was so unexpected, so spontaneous, there was not a clear plan. And that was the really cause of the problem. Anyone that does budgeting, if you don't have a clear plan, it can mess up, right? It's a great idea before
Yeah.
you go to a restaurant with, even if it's just one other person, have a clear plan. Are we looking for a buffet? Are we looking for a sit down? Are we just going to grab a quick sandwich at a local, sandwich sub type of place? Have a clear plan first. It'll probably cost a lot less money and a lot less aggravation. That's my guess.
Yeah. I mean, well, don't get me wrong. I do have my days that I do like to go to a nice, say, seafood restaurant. There
Hmm.
are I'll have my days that I like to go and get and get nothing but just seafood. You know, there's times that I'll do that. That within itself can be a little more expensive, but you also have to be a little watchful as to what you order. I mean, I'm not going to go in there and order lobster tail and all that fancy schmancy expensive. It's not going to happen. I mean, I'm the type of person, as long as I get a plate of fish like flounder or cod or something along that line, or even some shrimp, I'm
Hmm.
happy.
There you go.
You know, that's me. I'm not one that likes to go after all the fancy, all the I mean, for those that do and like to go that route, and you have the money to afford it, so be it. But it just never really appealed to me, you know.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I can't really think of anything else,
Nope.
to
Other
talk
than
about.
thanks so much for having me on, Steve.
You're welcome. Yeah, because right now if I say any more, I'm gonna wind up sounding like a broken record. I don't want to do that. But
No, we pretty much exhausted the topic.
yeah, but I do But I do understand I understand the difference between being stingy and frugal, and careful with your money and all that. I know all that, all different lines of how to control that. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Much appreciated. Um, be on the lookout for I or us, and we will see you back here, or I will see you back here next time. Hope everybody has a good day or whatever time of day it is for you, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Bye.
Bye.